going to read you something from a very special book. I'm pleased to see you all, and yet I can't see you in person. So it's really important for us to share this at the moment. And I know you're going online and taking lots of your work down that your teachers have got together and put there for you. And you're working hard at that. But I know it's tricky because it's not the same as when we're all together in school. When this first happened and we had our first lockdown, it was in March in 2020. And it's a day that a lot of people remembered as the beginning of that first lockdown. And one person who particularly thought about that and what he could do about it was an author who's already been into our school called Robert Powell. And in the time from that first lockdown until just before Christmas, he worked hard at things that then created this book. But not only did Robert work hard at it, one of our pupils has actually got her work published in the book, and I'm delighted to say that Scarlett Mills gave me a copy of the book for Christmas, and she signed it. So it's lovely to have it signed by one of the authors in it. In a minute, I'm going to read you Scarlett's story. But let's just hear about what Robert did. The author, Robert, decided that he wanted to do something for children during lockdown. And so he started this course of writing to help people write, to help children write. Scarlett, with her sister and also 2 more children that used to come to our school, were some of the many, many children across the country who took part in this writing course. And as the weeks of the course progressed, it became clear that the children were really enjoying what they were learning about writing. So Robert, the author, asked the children to send him their stories in what eventually became a rainbow writing competition. They picked up the theme of the rainbow, which very much became the theme of the time of that lockdown. And by the end of the competition, 82 children had entered the writing a rainbow-inspired story. He said it was a pleasure to read every single one of those stories, but the hardest part was choosing the winners in each group. And he ended up by putting 58 of the rainbow stories together in his book called Rainbows During Lockdown. So when you turn to the pages I've got marked in here are the ones from our Roseland's children, but when you turn to page 148, you there have the story from Scarlett, The Foragers. And I thought, with Scarlett's permission, I would read you Scarlett's story. The brief behind this, or the plan for this, was to write a short story. So it's not the whole book, it's a short story that stands on its own as a story. "Charles!" Tia yelled. "We'll be late for school." Tia was a thin girl with short black hair and green eyes. She was considerate and interested in sports and animals. What a good start Scarlett's written her story. Let's hear the rest that she's written. Remember, every word I'm reading you, Scarlett Mills wrote. Tia had a twin called Tyler, who had black curly hair and was relatively small. He loved video games and pranking his sisters. The twins were 10 years old and lived in a big house with their siblings. Charles, 6 years old, who had blonde hair, brown eyes and liked looking for snails and playing with his dog. Hannah, 7 years old, who had long golden waves and loved drawing and playing tennis, but was quite shy. And finally, Oscar, 13 years old, who had interesting bi-coloured eyes and merged between green and brown. He was adventurous and outgoing, obsessed with surfing and skateboarding. Together with their adorable and energetic dog Rocky, a chocolate cavapoo, and their loving parents, they were the Foragers. Everyone had left for school when the air started heating up. They didn't think anything was wrong as they lived in Australia, which is a hot place anyway. But Oscar, being the oldest, was having none of it. He knew something didn't feel quite right. Suddenly, a big flame rose from behind the school. "Ah!" Hannah screamed. "The school is on fire! Run!" They all hurried after Hannah back towards the house, and once they arrived, they told their parents what had happened and called the fire brigade. Later, after the firemen had put out the fire, which had been rapidly approaching their beautiful house, everyone went to see the damage that it had caused. On the other side of town, the girl who had started the fire was looking at a map of the foragers' house and writing a plan about how to get in. She wanted revenge on the foragers for an act their family committed decades ago to her family, the Charters. The families used to be the best of friends until a dark, foggy morning in 1807, when Jack Forager and Roxanne Charter had an argument about the diamonds, the special secret kept for generations between their two families, the Charters and the Foragers. The diamonds, like a rainbow, were red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo and violet. The diamonds together had a power which made them very precious and connected the two families in trust. That morning, Jack told his neighbour, Frederick, about the diamonds. Little did Jack know that Frederick wanted the power himself. Frederick never managed to take the diamonds. However, the Foragers and the Charters' friendship went downhill from there. Roxanne felt angry that her family had confided in the Foragers in the first place and decided to distance the Charters from them. This led to a bitter rivalry between the families, and in 1842, when a discovery was made about the diamonds by the press, the Charters blamed the Foragers for exposing them again, an act the Foragers protested wasn't true. "Rocky, get off me," huffed Charles, pushing his pet dog off his bed while he wiped drool from his face. Everyone else woke to the sound of the dog barking. "Woof, woof, woof." "Rocky, be quiet, we're trying to sleep," hissed Tia. Guys, it's quite late. Shouldn't you be getting up now?" asked Charles. "Oh my goodness, is it that time already?" Mum exclaimed. Mum and Dad went shopping and left the kids with Oscar. "Mum and Dad have gone. Let's play some games," suggested Oscar. So that is what they did. Suddenly, there was a crash in the basement. Guys, did you hear that?" asked Hannah, trembling under her blanket. "Yeah, it came from the basement," replied Tia. "It's giant rats," Tyler said creepily. "Pooh!" Oscar shouted behind him. "Ah!" Hannah shrieked. Finally, they went to check it out. Crash! "Guys, over there. There's something moving inside the old chest," whispered Tyler. Oscar, Tia and Tyler moved slowly towards the moving chest. "Are you coming?" asked Tyler, glancing back at Hannah and Charles. Okay," they said quietly, and crept in, hiding behind the others. Oscar removed the blanket from the box, revealing a scrunched-up teenage girl dressed all in black. "Who are you? Where did you come from? What are you doing here?" the Forager children questioned anxiously. The girl refused to speak, so they tied her to a chair and left her there until she answered their questions. The following afternoon, Mum asked, "Where are you going?" as the children descended the stairs to the basement. "Lunch is nearly ready." "We won't be long," they said, and hurried off. "Come on, Rocky." Everyone trooped down to the dusty basement to question the girl again. At last she answered. "My name is Freya Charter, and I burnt down your school," she declared. Everyone was shocked as she continued. "My father told me what you did in the 1800s, and I want my revenge," she spat. "What did your family do, Freya?" inquired Hannah suspiciously. "Have you never heard the story?" Freya coughed doubtfully. "Your great-great-great-great-grandpa and my great-great-great-great-grandma were arguing about the diamonds." "What diamonds?" the Foragers all asked at once. "Our families used to protect the secret of the 7 rainbow diamonds," Freya explained. "Our families argued because old Jack Forager told an outsider the secret of their power, which led to a breakdown in trust." "But why are you here?" Tia sat down confused. "And why do you want revenge on us?" "My dad sent me," Freya answered. "He wanted me to steal back the missing diamonds, the diamonds he believes that belong to us. Your family can't be trusted with them." "Let's find these diamonds," Hannah exclaimed. Everybody nodded in agreement. "Lunch is ready," Mum bellowed down the stairs. "Sorry, we have to go. Your story can wait," they said, before rushing up to the kitchen and leaving Freya alone. After lunch, the children returned to the musky basement, bringing Freya something to eat. My father told me the remaining diamonds are hidden in this house. He has 4, you have 3 and the box, she explained. So they all started searching eagerly until... Hey, what's this? Tia called out. There was a vent in the floor. They lifted it up and found a staircase leading to a mysterious room. Guarding Freya closely, they tiptoed down the stairs and, after a brief search, found among the ornaments an intricate wooden box. Inside, there were 3 dazzling rainbow-coloured diamonds and 4 empty slots. The story must be true, murmured Tyler, releasing Freya from his hold. If we're to unlock the secret, you have to get your father's diamonds and put them in the box. Freya ran to her house to retrieve the Charter's diamonds, forgetting her thoughts of revenge, but rather intrigued at what would happen, returning with them safe in her purse. Freya, you're back, Hannah exclaimed. We thought you'd bring your father. Freya offered the diamonds, and together they slotted them into the indentations in the box. Wow, cried Tia. Look at that mesmerising rainbow. With all the diamonds placed in their respective slots, a majestic rainbow appeared, flooding the room with colour and sparkle. Radiating out over the town, the children realised the foragers' and the Charter's houses were at either end of the rainbow, which reminded them of why both families kept the secret in the first place. The connection between the foragers and Charters really was as magical as the rainbow before them. And that, said Scarlett, was the end. Well, I'm sure you'll join me in thinking what a wonderful story for a short story Scarlett had created. There are lots of questions in that, aren't there? It raises lots of questions and thoughts in your mind, but there's some fantastic descriptions as well. And I can picture the characters and the basement and, above all, the diamonds and that fantastic rainbow. So thank you, Scarlett, for such a brilliant story from Rainbows in Lockdown. And I know that it's available on Amazon if anybody does want to buy the whole book. I'm going to have a look through it and see if there's some more stories I can read you, particularly the ones from the other children from Roselands.